ocean in a ship that we would look at and you go, you have got to be kidding me. You're going to put me in that thing? You're braver than I thought. Little Star Wars joke there. And they came, right? Multiple times. They made that voyage with very rudimentary maps, very rudimentary equipment. Why was that so important to them? They were getting away from what they said was no good. They wanted to say, look, I'm going to stand in front of my God and I'm going to do what I feel and what the Bible feels, the Bible tells. And they weren't clear. They weren't able to do that in Great Britain. So they left. So now we have Thanksgiving, right? Well, how many people really think about what that really means other than, oh, wow, fat turkey, I'm going to stuff myself on every kind of food I can find. We've kind of lost a lot of the importance of that, haven't we? And then we get to Christmas. The most over-commercialized holiday on the planet. How many people really pay attention to what that's supposed to be? What I hate is, oh, happy holidays. Oh, Merry Xmas. Merry Xmas? What is that? That doesn't even mean anything. What is that? They try to zap everything out of the true meaning there, aren't they? Okay, I get that we figure that he probably really most likely was born in September, but it doesn't matter, right? It could matter not if it was June the 17th, right? We're taking a day and we're making a point to remember that, right? So we kind of sail through both of those holidays, and we're just like, oh wow, I get a whole bunch of food and cool. I hope I get some really neat Christmas presents because I got A, B, C, D, and E on my list, and I really hope that I get all of those. And what more do we do about it? Right? So that's my starting thought. Okay, so let me have first there, please. Yeah. All right. So this is a letter to the church at Corinth, written by the Apostle Paul. And what does he talk about here? Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels and have not charity, I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. Though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so I could remove mountains. That's a pretty big deal, isn't it? How many of us can remove a mountain? Yeah. We get a whole slew of construction equipment and 70 tons of dynamite, and we still only make a scratch in the side of a mountain. And we think that we did something. Oh yeah, we scarfed that out and we built this highway through here, and the rest of the mountain's still sitting there going, really? Bring it! And he's like, and you can move a mountain. And I have not charity, I have nothing. If I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burnt, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffers long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seek not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoice not in iniquity, but rejoice in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Do you think we're there? You think that the world right now is there? Is there? No. You? No. Anybody else think we're there? Why are we not there? What's wrong with us? What is our problem? Complacency? It's us. What was I talking about earlier? A, B, C, D, and E, right? My Christmas list, and I want, truck parts. Yeah, cool. Okay, I will admit I do have a list of truck parts. Yes, to put on my truck. Look at all the words that I'm using. My Christmas list, my truck, right? What's it all about? And I'm saying I'm just as guilty. Yeah, I'd like to get some new stuff in my truck. I already got some new stuff in my truck, but now I'm thinking I'd like some more. But what else am I doing with that? This is all about us. It looks like Paul had a different belief there, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burnt, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not, vaunteth not itself, and is not puffed up. And yet, we're breaking just about every single one of those, aren't we?
Yes.
Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. So what's my point today? What am I talking about? What's a synonym for charity? If I have charity, I have what? I have love. Right? Am I going to walk past a homeless guy and give him $10, $20, $50 if I have no compassion, no care, no love for his plight? I'm going to look at him and go, get a job, and keep right on walking, aren't I? That would be the opposite of love, wouldn't it? That's not charity. That's not compassion. That's not caring at all.
It's not love.
Couldn't Jesus have done the same thing?
Yes.
He passed people that were lepers, which was, like the ultimately terrifying scourge because it can't be cured. I mean, there are drugs now that keep it at bay, but it's not a curable disease. And back then, that was a death sentence. A piece of your body started falling off. I mean, it's really horrendous. So they were the worst of the worst. They were the dirtiest of the dirty. Compared to them, the Samaritans were on top of the mountain, Jews didn't even like the Samaritans, but then you had the leper come on. Like, did he cross the road when he saw them? No, he didn't, did he? Doesn't say that he went over, and there was 10 of them that he dealt with, right? And then it said that he healed every single one of those 10. And then what? What was the end of the story? Only one? Only one. Why only one? What happened? What happened to the rest of the people? What about the 9? What about the 9? Do you think they were all happy that they got rid of that terrible terminal disease? You know, that their nose wasn't going to just sneeze one day and go, oh, that's my nose in that tissue. Yeah, I would say they were probably happy that wasn't going to happen. But did they go back and thank him? They didn't, did they? Charity never faileth, but when there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, which is what? Who?
Jesus.
Amen. That which is come is perfect, and that which is in part shall be done away. Right? So we have a messed up planet right now, which is in a lot of parts. Busted. Right? So part will be done away when complete arrives. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as I am known. And he wraps it. Now abideth faith, hope, charity. These 3. Faith and hope. You can give somebody hope. You can give somebody a hand up on faith. You can't force it on them. You can't give it to them because they have to have faith. But what are those 2 things kind of? They're sort of selfish in a way, aren't they? Kind of, because if you have faith, you have hope, but maybe somebody else doesn't. But charity is not selfish. It's the one that's giving away. So what does he say about that? He said faith and hope are good. He likes them, right?
Yes.
But the greatest of these is love.
That's right.
Charity means the same thing. So read that when you Flip that when you see that. Read that into that hole. Okay, so you might be saying, well, that's pretty nice. But how does it come about? Well, James, he had this to say. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he has faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and when he says unto him, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding you gave them not these things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? So how about that homeless guy I was just talking about a few minutes ago? If I walk by and I say, it's kind of a leaky looking cardboard box you got there for a house. That's not so great. And you're just sitting right on top of a storm drain, so that's going to be really wet. And it's going to get cold enough, that's going to freeze. So your butt's going to be right in the middle of a block of ice. But hey, have a great day. Depart in peace, be warmed and filled, and does nothing about it.
Come on here.
I walk on.
That's right.
Notwithstanding, ye give them not which are needful of the body. What does it profit? Even so, faith, if I have not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, Thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac his son upon the altar?
Yes.
What was he ready to give up? Okay. How old was Abraham? Well, okay, so Abraham was what? 100 when the angel told him he was going to have a kid, right? Okay, so you figure it's going to be another year, all right? So now he's got a baby, he's 101. Okay, so Isaac's probably... Now, I've heard people say, and I don't believe this, that Isaac was a little kid, and therefore, even if he decided that he couldn't have fought his father before he ran a knife through him, I don't believe that, because he made him carry the wood. He was probably a pretty big dude. He was probably about Abraham's size at this point. Probably a good, teenager showing the muscle. And yet he won voluntarily, didn't he? And he only had, how many? Some of the patriarchs had, they couldn't count all their kids, right? They just started yelling out names because they'd forget. Yeah, John, Jakes, Kevin, no, Ralph, just get over here. Anybody ever have that when they have a really big feeling? You don't remember, so you just start yelling out names until somebody goes, yeah, what, Ma? He only had one, so it was pretty easy to remember. He didn't have to yell a whole lot of names, did he? So what was his works that was going to prove his faith? He was ready at a very, Jesus calling it, yeah. At this very old age here, right? Since Sarah was 90, right? So Sarah's got to be over 100 by now, right? And he's probably, what, 115? Something like that, right? So he's probably like, yeah, I don't think, probably most likely not going to be having any more kids. And here comes the voice from the sky that says, kill him. It's like, what? Huh? Okay. All right. But what did he tell the people of Chedmore? He said, you all wait here. Me and the lad are going up the mountain, and God's going to provide. So that's right. He said, we'll be back. He didn't say, I'll be back. It wasn't Arnold. He said, we're going to come back. We'll be coming back down again, right? So he was showing his faith, wasn't he? By the work that he was about to do. Because Almighty God told him to. We'd all say, dude, you're nuts. You waited 100 years for a kid, and now you're just going to open him up. Really? What's wrong with you? No. Man might say there's something wrong with him. God didn't. So we know what happened after that, right? He got up there and there was a ram stuck in a bush. He said, take the ram instead. But doesn't it also say they stayed his arm? Right, he was about ready to let him have it. It was going to be cold steel and game on. He got to all the way to third down and inches at the goal line, and he says, ref called, flag on the play, stop. Yeah, that was the 1 second mark, exactly. Flag on the play, stop. Did God have to do that to find out what he was going to do? Of course not. God already knew. Who was he proving it to? He was proving it to Abraham, wasn't he? Abraham now knew how far his faith would go and how far his work would extend to that faith. The scripture was fulfilled, which says Abraham believed God and was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called, wow, the friend of God. You see then how that works. By works a man is justified, and not by faith only. Likewise also was not Rahab the harlot justified by works when she had received the messengers and sent them out another way. Do you remember that story? Do y'all recall that one? They were getting ready to sack the city. He said, we're going to go have a look first. So sent some James Bond, 007 went in, Bond, James Bond. You sneak in there, have a look around, right? And he's got the little laser pen and all that cool stuff. No, they didn't have any of those. They wanted to spy it out, right? And they come in and they're talking to her. She's like, oh, I know who these guys are. They're coming. We heard about them. They've laid waste to the other cities that they've arrived at. This is really bad. We are all going to die. And they talked to her and they said, look, we're here very quietly, we're covert. This is a mission. You don't tell anybody, we'll get you out. They made a promise, didn't they? They made a covenant with her. She made a covenant with them. They said, you get all your family into your house and you hang this little flag outside. And we don't devastate your house. We just go through and smite everything else. So, when it came the day, it was game on. They flattened the whole place. She and her family, they were spared. They made a deal. So she had what? Faith in the belief that the guy was telling the truth, right? Because it was just two guys that showed up randomly. They don't know who they are. They could have lied. And they could have got back after smiting the whole city and said, well, you know what? I'm really glad that you hit us when the soldiers came by, but we can't leave anybody alive because that's just what we do. So kill them too. Smoke them. They would have lied. They would have broken the promise. But they could have done that, couldn't they? But they didn't. They showed their faith by their works. She showed her faith by her works. And everything worked out the way it was supposed to. What did James close with? For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Now, so what do y'all think about Thanksgiving and Christmas now? Well, they're still going to fall on the same days. Well, no, actually, Thanksgiving does move. Okay, that one changes a little bit. Christmas, we always know when that's coming. That doesn't really sneak up on you, does it? They made that one easy. They locked it down on the 25th every year. But if it's just all about us, then what are we really doing? If I back up to 2 and 16. And one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding you give them not those things which are needful. What doth it profit? Even so faith, if it have not works, is dead, being alone. So now we're in January and we get past all the warm fuzzies of Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that, where everybody's all about peace, love, and universal joy, and you had stuff hanging all over the place, signs in the stores, and everybody's giving gifts. Hey, Merry Christmas! I love you guys! And we're back to January where you're flipping people off in traffic and going, he cut me off. Did you see that guy? Who taught that idiot how to drive? We haven't changed anything, have we? We haven't. We went through a little period where we tried to mockingly be a little nicer, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do. And then we went back to where we were. I'm pretty sure that when James was writing this, 16 to 17, he didn't say, well, it's okay that it's just Christmas, and then after that, you can go back to being a very selfish. And I can throw in other words. I'll keep them clean. Because we're on broadcast. You know what I'm saying. So it's time that we take a look. Not at our neighbor who has a splinter in his eye, but as Jesus told him, he needed to yank out that fence post or that redwood tree or ceiling beam that timber is stuck in your eye. So just leave you with the thought that now the holiday is over. How about we see if we can keep that running all year long? That's my challenge. See who accepts. Amen.
Thank God to put His Spirit back upon him. Go ahead, Father God. We thank you, God, for the word. God, that He gave us. God, we ask God to put your Spirit, God, back into him. God, we ask God to bless his family, God, coming and going. God, we ask God to do these things. God, for your glory, and God, and for your honor. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.